What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so there's not really much interesting news, if you will, like pertinent, like important news, but I did find this little fascinating article right here. Check this out. And they refuse to put Alex Jones in the headline. But this is about Alex Jones, by the way, in case you didn't see the thumbnail. U.S. Justice Department officials question retired FBI agent's role in $1.4 billion Sandy Hook lawsuit. So as we know, the left has been going after free speech for a very, very, very long time. And they were quite successful during the Biden administration. They got to Alex Jones. They deplatformed Alex Jones from every single social media outlet, just about, except for some of the obscure ones that did not want to capitulate to the big boys, if you will, like the mainstream. Didn't want to capitulate. So he's been off in the weeds for a very long time. Alex Jones is just now coming back into prominence. And we saw back, I think it was 2022, they destroyed this man's company that he had built up over a couple of decades, for crying out loud, over speech. And these people, they want to get mad and say, Jimmy Kimmel did nothing wrong. Well, guess what? Alex Jones did nothing wrong. If you're going to make that argument about Jimmy Kimmel's comments were just as disgusting as Alex Jones' comments. They were the same. They were one in the freaking same. I don't care what the hell you have to say about that. I don't care about your opinions. That's my belief. It's my strongly held conviction. Yes, they were disgusting. I don't think he should have went down that route. But once again, he has every right under the Constitution, under his God-given rights, to say exactly what he wants to without fear of being completely ostracized. Right? But you can't go suing the man for $1.4 billion, destroy his freaking company, for goodness sakes. Like, what they did to this man was truly insane. It really was. Like, take him off of social media, fire the guy from wherever, right? You couldn't fire him because he had his own company, for goodness sakes. Right? So if he can continue to do what he does off of social media, I don't think they should have went after him, right? This is not the same as Jimmy Kimmel getting fired from ABC. Jimmy Kimmel most certainly could have tried to build his own media company and do his own thing. But once again, trying to go after this man's business. He had, I don't know how many employees ruin their freaking life over speech, folks. So once again, I don't want to hear any of these arguments coming from Democrats and the left about, oh, my freedom of speech, because you guys don't care about freedom of speech. You've shown that over the past decade, that you really don't care about people's right to say whatever the hell they want to say. It's insane. Let's get into this, y'all. A senior U.S. Justice Department official sent a letter to a lawyer for relatives of victims killed in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, asked pointed questions about a retired FBI agent's involvement in a defamation lawsuit that led to a $1.4 billion judgment against conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. I think that's fair, to be honest with you, calling him a conspiracy theorist, because he does engage in a lot of conspiracy theories. But there is this funny idea out there, and it's kind of true, that Alex Jones is correct a lot more than he is incorrect. He gets a lot of things right. A lot of times he does engage in a lot of wild conspiracy theories, but sometimes he does get things right. As a matter of fact, a lot of times he does get things right. I mean, he accurately predicted that Putin was going to invade, I think 6-8 months before Putin actually invaded Ukraine. I'm just saying. But he's been right about a lot of things. As a matter of fact, he came to prominence because he blew the doors open on the Bohemian Grove or whatever. He was actually able to sneak into that place and film a bunch of the nonsense that they do, a bunch of the weird satanic rituals that they undergo. It was wild, and he came into prominence, or at least that's when I heard about him back then. But the guy just reads the news for the most part, right? He does engage in some conspiracy theories, so that's fair. Ed Martin Jr., who leads the Justice Department's Weaponization Working Group, asked in the letter whether retired Agent William Aldenberg received any financial benefits from helping to organize the lawsuit, in which he was a plaintiff along with victims' family members. Aldenberg, like the parents and other relatives of the 20 children and 6 educators killed in the 2012 school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, has been the subject of false conspiracy theories spread by Jones on his InfoWars broadcasts. Aldenberg was among the law enforcement officers who responded to the school and found the dead children. That then led to years of abuse from people who believed the shooting was a hoax. He has said his share of the judgment totaled around $120 million. So I think that right there should be some sort of conflict of interest. I really do. This guy's an FBI agent, and he got on board with a lawsuit, a defamation lawsuit. Hang on just a second. I don't really think that the FBI should get involved with defamation lawsuits in any situation like that. Not when he was a responding officer to that situation. That smells of corruption to me. In a September 15th letter to Christopher Mattei, a lawyer who represents Sandy Hook families, Martin suggested he was scrutinizing Aldenberg's role in the lawsuit. As you may know, there are criminal laws protecting the citizens from actions by government employees who may be acting for personal benefit, Martin wrote. Mattei responded to the letter in a text message to the Associated Press. I wonder why that is. Why would he respond to Ed Martin's letter to the Associated Press? That's what they're trying to tell you here. Thanks to our courage of the Sandy Hook families, InfoWars will soon be finished, he said, referring to the family's efforts in court to liquidate Jones's assets to help pay the judgment. In his last gasps, Jones is once again harassing them, only now with the corrupt complicity of at least one DOJ official. It's as disgusting as it is pathetic, and we will not stand for it. Yeah, what are you going to do about it, my dude? Like, seriously, there were so many problems with that lawsuit that a court found, hang on just a second, like they were going to sell InfoWars and all this other nonsense, but the judge, I forget exactly what they did. It's been so long since I covered this. But there's something the judge was like, no, we're cutting this off right here. Gave Alex Jones back InfoWars. They're no longer selling it, folks. So Alex Jones got that back, as a matter of fact. Yeah, they were going to sell it. The court ordered it. And the deal fell through, if you will, because of some corruption going on in the background. I just don't remember the specifics of what it was. So I should have went and looked that up. But I was doing more trying to find information on Aldenberg instead of that. But, it is what it is. The Justice Department said it had no immediate comment Tuesday. Well, what about a comment, not so immediately? Martin, who has been examining President Donald Trump's claims of anti-conservative bias inside the Justice Department, has sent letters to a host of targets in other unrelated matters seeking information or making appeals, but it's unclear whether such requests have amounted to anything. What do you mean claims of anti-conservative? They sent out a memo to dozens of FBI field offices to go after Catholic churches. They wanted to put informants in Catholic churches. What do you mean? Anti-conservative bias. I would say that's very anti-conservative and violates the First Amendment. Jones posted a copy of the letter on his X account Tuesday saying, "Breaking. The DOJ's Task Force on Government Weaponization Against the American People has launched an investigation into the Democrat Party. FBI directing illegal lawfare against Alex Jones and InfoWars." Retired agent testified at the trial. Aldenberg joined the relatives of 8 Sandy Hook victims in suing Jones, alleging defamation and infliction of emotional distress. Are you freaking kidding me? To an FBI agent. Oldenburg was one of the first witnesses to testify at the trial in 2022. He broke down on the witness stand as he described entering the 2 classrooms where children and educators were shot. He also testified about how he and others in the community and law enforcement were targeted with threats and conspiracy theories, including one that claimed he was an actor who also pretended to be the father of the victim. Messages were left at a phone listing and email addresses listed for Oldenburg in public records. Relatives of the shooting victims testify that they were subjected to violent threats, in-person harassment, and abusive comments on social media because of Jones. Martin has been serving as head of the Justice Department's Weaponization Working Group since his nomination for top federal prosecutor in Washington was pulled amid bipartisan concerns about his modest legal experience and his advocacy for January 6 rioters. Now, this never made any sense to me, and I want to kind of caveat that little section in the news article with this. Do we really have concerns about people who represent clients? Like, that was one of the concerns that the Senate brought up because he was the lawyer for some of the January 6 defendants. Like, these people have to have lawyers. Somebody has to represent these people. Like, how can you admonish somebody for representing a client? That never made any sense to me and is one of the stupidest aspects of his nomination. It's just ridiculous, y'all. Attorney General Pam Bondi created the group to scrutinize matters in which conservatives have claimed they were unfairly targeted or treated. I don't know. Maybe a memo sent out by the FBI targeting Catholics specifically might be a hint in that direction. Or maybe targeting parents that go to school board meetings and address concerns about what the school is teaching their children. Having those FBI agents attack the parents or investigate them and scrutinize their lives just for going to those school board meetings. Nonsense, y'all. And you want to tell me this is just claims? Okay. Martin was also recently named a special prosecutor to help conduct the separate mortgage fraud investigations into Democratic New York Attorney General Letitia James and U.S. Senator Adam Schiff. In his letter to Matei, he asked for several pieces of information and requested that the lawyer respond by September 29th. In the letter, Martin asked Matei to keep the correspondence confidential because I do not wish to litigate this in the media. On September 14th, Jones posted a photo of his ex account of him and Martin together, saying the two met in Washington, D.C. Jones recently asked the Supreme Court to hear his appeal of the $1.4 billion judgment. He also is appealing a $49 million judgment in a similar lawsuit in Texas filed by 2 other parents of children killed in Newton. He has cited free speech rights, but he has acknowledged that the shooting was 100% real. Yeah, he even come out and apologized for his comments, as a matter of fact. But they didn't care about that. They still wanted to destroy his entire life. Jones claims Democrats have been targeting him for his speech. That's true. That's not a claim. He filed for bankruptcy in late 2022. The Sandy Hook plaintiffs are now trying to liquidate InfoWars' assets in state court proceedings in Texas. That's right. They're trying to destroy that, man. And look, you know, it is what it is. There is consequences for your speech. I will say that. You can't just go around saying whatever the hell you want to and think that there's not going to be any repercussions of that. But for what Jones was actually saying, he was just spouting off conspiratorial nonsense, if you ask me. Nothing that would, indicate or point in the direction that they should actually just destroy that man's life. You know, this is something, you call him a lunatic, you call him crazy, and go on about your day, right? It's not his fault that people get it in their brain that this was a hoax and they go and threaten other people. Do you think Alex Jones actually put that into their brain? No, he probably just reinforced it, is all. These people, these crazy lunatics that go around, issuing all these threats like that, these people are just crazy. That's all there is to it, right? There's a lot of crazy people out there. You can't blame Alex Jones for that. But look, I get it. There are consequences for speech. I will say that again. I will absolutely say that again, right? You can't just go and say whatever you want to when it's really in really bad taste and disgusting. It is what it is, but I don't think people's lives should be completely destroyed like that. You know, the dude has built that company up for a while. And I don't know, I just thought it was crazy that they really took it that far. They wanted the GDP of France in that lawsuit. Yeah, it's like, I forget how many trillion dollars, like 2 point something trillion dollars or something like that. The entire GDP of France. Go look up the GDP of France, and that's what it was. The GDP of France in 2022. That's what they were asking, the Sandy Hook families. Completely absurd. It really is. For defamation. I'm not sure how they defamed. I'm not sure how Alex Jones defamed them. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, in that case, they would have to prove that he didn't believe what he was saying. That's it. You know, you got to prove that, and that's a hard thing to prove. But, you know, they didn't care about proving anything, because this day and age, all you have to have is the judge and the jury on your side, and that's it. You don't really have to prove it outright. But it is what it is. I just thought that was kind of an interesting story, that the government is actually going after some of these people that tried to railroad Alex Jones, and I think that's a good idea. They definitely should be investigated, because if they conducted themselves in a malicious fashion against Alex Jones, hey, they need to be held accountable. That's all I'm going to say about that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here, and share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. And click that join button. Sign up, become a member. That's the best way to help this channel expand and grow. But you guys remember that God is always with us, and He loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.